Given its abundant mineral resources, Zimbabwe is hoping that the change in leadership will help unlock the country's investment opportunities in the mining sector. The Zimbabwe is Open for Business Mining Zimbabwe dialogue took place on the sidelines of this year's Mining Indaba in Cape Town. At the event, Zimbabwe's newly appointed Mines and Mining Development Minister Winston Chitando discussed the investment opportunities that his country has in the mining sector.
It has been said before, and I will start by saying it again, that Zimbabwe is open for business. There are vast opportunities which we would like to see interested investors come and take advantage of. One of the things which government did in the mining sector, President Mnangagwa, was to emphasize on two issues which we believe will help stimulate and grow the mining industry. Firstly, with the amendments or the proposed amendments to the indigenization regulations, which I'm sure most of us read about, notably that the indigenization threshold remains in diamonds and in platinum, 5149. It no longer applies to the other minerals. The second is the endeavor to ensure that there is policy clarity and there is policy consistency. We believe it's absolutely important. And these are policy issues which were made in the first week of the government being formed. Ladies and gentlemen, Zimbabwe is endowed with a lot of mineral resources. The number varies. I saw in the clip which 40, but certainly over 40 minerals in Zimbabwe. And one thing about Zimbabwe, the fact of the matter is that Zimbabwe is underexplored. So at the end of the day, we actually, as a country, have not been able to fully establish what we have. There are a number of reasons for this, but that's the reality. Again, what we have is minerals which were explored, which were identified before some of the modern exploration techniques, which those in the mining world would know, that the exploration techniques used in the 50s and 60s were not as efficient as the exploration techniques which are used in the current day.
In order to lure foreign investment into Zimbabwe's mining sector, Minister Chitando announced changes to mining laws, limiting indigenization rules that mandate majority ownership for the state to just diamonds and platinum.
Well, previously, any investor in mining, in Zimbabwe, including other sectors, you could only own up to 49% of any investment. The 51% had to be reserved for local participation. Now, the policy was changed. There was a policy change which was announced in December, and that policy now only applies to platinum and diamonds. The rest of the minerals are now exempt from that policy. And what that means is a foreign investor can come and own 100% of a gold asset or coal or other assets. So that 5149 only applies to platinum and diamonds. There are 4 ways in which one can have mining title in Zimbabwe. Claims and mining lease for those who are not investing much, but those who are investing big amounts of money, over $100 million, you are entitled to enter into a special mining lease with the government. And in terms of that special mining lease, there are 2 things which you achieve. The first thing you achieve is you can negotiate your own, you can negotiate a fiscal structure different from what is applicable to the rest of the industry. And secondly, that fiscal structure is permanent for the duration of that special mining lease. So that there's provision for that. So any investor who wants to come and invest big amounts of money can go the special mining lease route, and then you are assured, and there's an agreement which is signed by the government of Zimbabwe.
The Zimbabwe Open for Business event was co-hosted with the Morty Group, a 70% shareholder in African chrome fields along the Great Dyke in Zimbabwe.
When we invested in Zimbabwe, it was under different leadership, but I can tell you that the relationship was built with Emerson, Mnangagwa and his team. And I just think that as South Africans, because we're also in the mining industry, and a lot of you understand mining in this country and have spent lots of billions of rands in South Africa, the opportunity in Zimbabwe, as I said, is based not only on relationships, but on the fact that there is less, I won't say red tape in the wrong way, but in the right way. They want to see change, they want to see employment, they want to see capital come into the country. So it's our responsibility to take advantage of that opportunity that we have. But we don't do that alone, and the purpose of this function actually is an invitation to most of the South Africans that want to get into Zimbabwe, and for them to be able to feel comfortable that a South African company has gone in there in the darker time than we are right now, trust me, and made a difference in Zimbabwe. So when you want to go into Zimbabwe, I promise you, you won't have trouble finding the right person to talk to. The Minister of Mines will elaborate more on what their policies are, what the President's policies what the changes in the presidential policy has been for investment. But all I can tell you is this, once again, and I'm going to end up by saying that all the relationships in our businesses are the reason that we have a longer-term relationships.
Zimbabwe's Great Dyke is roughly 300 miles of long rock formation, which bisects the country from north to south and holds the world's largest high-grade chrome resources.
We have mining operations in the just a little distance away from Kwekwe, which is in the Chinika area, close to the Zimbabwe Dam. It's along the Great Dyke, and we have mining operations. There's alluvial mining of chrome fines. We started this, we bought the operation, almost a greenfields operation, in about 2014. And we've been there since. From the time we started operations, which is about 24 months, we've established a number of plants which stretches in the region of approximately, I think, 30 kilometers. So we have about 7 plant areas within which we operate, and they're all a distance from each other. The approach that we've taken to mining is slightly different from what has been done before, in that we move our operations as to where the resource is, and not vice versa. This gives you the versatility and the agility to be able to extract material where the material is, and not the other way around. But this in itself raises a whole lot of other concerns and other challenges that you got to meet. We have currently in the region of approximately 1,100 employees. In the space of 24 months, we've employed that amount of people. We've invested in excess of $200 million. And that extends not only to the plants that we've erected, it also extends to the infrastructure that goes with that. The area which we're talking about, it lacked infrastructure, it's exceptionally remote, and required a number of resources to be in place for exploitation of material at the scale at which we do it. I would not be wrong in suggesting that we're probably the biggest mining operation of chromite fines exploitation and alluvial mining. I think not only in sub-Saharan Africa, but I think probably in the world.
Zimbabwe has for years been in economic turmoil. Zimbabwe's Minister of Mines is hoping that with the recent change in policies, that this will help boost the struggling economy.
Firstly, let's look at Zimbabwe. As it is, it has got all the attractiveness any investor would want in terms of the quality of the resource. Secondly, in terms of the work culture, which is prevalent in the Zimbabwean community in there. And thirdly, in terms of systems, the systems operate, financial systems do work, the systems when you export product, the systems when you import goods. So the systems around the country are amenable to any investor who would want, because they work and they are efficient. So that alone is a big attractiveness to have for any investor. But obviously, the fiscal structure supporting that will ensure that all the time it makes it attractive for the investors to come in.